Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving, even if you celebrate or not, because, well, why not? I kind of feel like one of those things where doesn't matter if you celebrate or not. I'm going to wish you happy Thanksgiving. And I hope that everyone is doing well and that you're getting excited about winter. I'm getting excited about winter for once. I think it's because we've had such a hot summer. I'm ready for it to be cool, and it's finally cool here in Athens. Although it was like 66 degrees here today, which is kind of crazy that it's November and it's still that warm. Although last week it was that warm, so one that it was cooler last week. So this is you can ask me whatever you want in this live stream, travel, Greece, things about me that I'm willing to answer. You can ask. There's not a whole lot that I won't answer, so feel free to ask me whatever you want. Um, and if you're joining me, please let me know where you're coming from, what country or city, if you're comfortable letting people know that. Um, that would be great to hear where everybody's joining from. Let me know if you are celebrating Thanksgiving. Um, I realize that not a lot of people may show up today because they may be celebrating Thanksgiving, but I thought if they didn't have somewhere to go or you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, um, then this would be a good opportunity. I did not do anything this year. Last year, I met up with friends, and the year before, I also met up with friends. And the year before, we were in lockdown. So I had Thanksgiving by myself. And this year, I don't know, for some reason, I was like, I just can't be bothered. So hello in Yorkshire. Oh, you had all that snow. You had all that snow that I saw in the UK. That was crazy. I can't believe. And there's another subscriber here who lives around. I think it's Bath. I don't think he lives in Bath, but around Bath. And he's been showing me how much rain they've had and how much flooding there is. And it's just crazy to me. Like, I kind of want to be like, can you send some of that rain to Greece? Now, it is supposed to rain this weekend a lot. So that's good for us. We always need rain, especially after a very hot, dry summer. So I'm hoping for, I don't want flooding, but lots of rain. Although it tends to flood here because I don't know if it's because the ground is so dry it can't absorb the moisture, or it's because we Athens has been built over a river. I don't know. So it did rain a couple of weeks ago over the weekend, and like my street flooded. Not like significantly. It was just like half the street was like covered in water, and like you had to like go slow and not splash everybody on the sidewalk. So okay, I see that there are more people coming. So if you missed it, happy Thanksgiving. Let me know where you're coming from. Let me know if you celebrate Thanksgiving and or if you don't. Either way, no big deal. So what I ended up doing is so the year that we were in lockdown for Thanksgiving, a lot of the hotels made like Thanksgiving and you could order it to be delivered. And that's what I did. And it was great. And actually, I mean, it was expensive, but I got like I think I got 3 meals out of it. Like two of them were like complete meals. And then the third, um, it wasn't a meal. It was like I got like a lunch, like a lunch out of it. Oh, John, you are. I wasn't sure if you lived in Bath or not, and so I was like, I don't know if I should say that, but yeah, I was talking about all your rain. Um, this year, none of the hotels did it, or if they did, it was only like an in-person thing. And I could have ordered Thanksgiving from the Hard Rock Cafe, and I tried to do that today, and by the time I did it, it was too late. Like they had already like gotten enough orders, which was fine. I really wasn't that hungry today, so I ordered American macaroni and cheese from this place called Po' Boys, which is where I had Thanksgiving a few years ago, and they had done a really good job. What I forgot is that the mac and cheese was like it's meant to like share with people. Happy Thanksgiving, Bill Clinton. Um, but since I wasn't having anything else, I just thought I would just eat all of it. So I've had my Thanksgiving, like, stuffed myself Thanksgiving. So, um, yeah, so it was good. I don't often get mac and cheese, and when I lived in the US, I would make it all the time, and I don't really do that here. So it was nice to have mac and cheese. So if you do celebrate Thanksgiving, although so far I think only one of you does, tell me what you had. So there was somebody who messaged me on Facebook when I said that I was having um sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm really bad about reading messages and trying to speak at the same time. Um somebody remind me what I was talking about. Okay, just all right, yes. Yes, everybody knows where Bath is, so well, I assume that I shouldn't assume that everybody knows where Bath is, but I know where Bath is, but that's because I've been to Bath. I don't think I've ever seen Bath so much in one sentence before. Anyway, I totally lost my train of thought. I don't think it's gonna come back unless one of you reminds me what I was talking about. Oh, old age. It's starting to get to me. Anyway, so the one thing about it getting cool here is that I happen to live in a building where we have communal heating. You can see the radiator back there, meaning that it only comes on when it's cold, like at a certain temperature, and then it only comes on from 6 to 9. And as of today, November 28th, even though we've had nights where it's been 4 degrees Celsius, we still haven't had heat. So, it's quite chilly in my apartment. It's fine during the day, like, it's pretty fine because I get plenty of sun, but the minute it's about 4 o'clock, because I don't face the sun, and the sun starts to go down and it starts to pass my building, it gets cold in here. And so I have a little space heater. I don't have it on right now because it's so loud. Um, so it's like, how many layers of clothes am I gonna wear to, like, sit in my own house? And I've, like, pulled all the blankets off because I haven't put on my duvet on my bed yet. Because I just know that we have days like this where it's almost, 20 degrees, which is 70, 71 during the day, and it's like, I don't need that yet. Yeah, it's been colder here than even, like, in my parents in Texas, so although that's not super surprising because Texas does stay pretty warm, but even in the winter, though, we do get cold, so, yeah. They're traveling for Thanksgiving, and I called my mom this afternoon, their morning, and she's like, "I had to go back to my room and put on different clothes," because it was so cold. So, and actually, the 2 weeks ago when it rained really hard here in Athens, it snowed in Kozani, which is near Thessaloniki, like, a lot. Like, not just, oh, a dusting of snow, like, a I don't think it was, like, feet or anything, but it was several inches of snow, which when I saw the pictures, it was kinda crazy, so, do you guys have any questions or you just wanna chat with me? That's totally fine if you don't have questions, but, I was kind of hoping that you guys might have I should have asked in advance and always do this. I never schedule it far enough in advance, and then I'm like, "Oh, I haven't done it." So, it's partly my fault. Um, I'm really good with, like, getting videos edited and getting everything done, but when it comes to live streaming, I'm just not great at it yet. I'll get there one day. So, if you haven't seen this in my previous videos, this is my cute little Christmas tree I bought from Leroy Merlin here in Athens, which is like I call it like Home Depot. It's not quite what our Home Depots are like, but it's similar. Um, and so I got these lights that you can have different like light settings where it does stuff, and it has one where it flickers like crazy, and I'm like, I can't even look at it. And today, I turned it on, but I wasn't looking at it. I was trying to pick up behind me so you guys didn't see my mess that is my apartment. And I looked up and it was going, and I was like, "Oh no, we can't have that because you guys don't want to see crazy flickering behind me." It literally looks like it's shorting out, and it it drives me crazy. I did not go back to that shop. I have a feeling it's one of those shops that's never really opened. Um, there are a lot of those in Athens where, like, they go in, like, once a month, and they open it, and they change the window, and then they never come back. I don't know, but what I did get, happy Thanksgiving to Canada. You already had your Thanksgiving. So, I did get the little if you guys have watched the, drama with the little photo printer today, took 9 days to get to me. I got the little cartridge to put the paper in to try the photo printer, so I am going to try that hopefully tomorrow. So, stay tuned for a vlog from now where I get to actually use the printer. So, my Christmas plans, I will be going back to the US to spend Christmas with my family, which is what I normally do. I've only spent a few Christmases away from home. I'm a Christmas girl. I love Christmas. It's my favorite holiday. And so, but I go for like a really long time. I go for like 5 weeks because it's so expensive now. And it's even more this year than it was last year. And I don't see my family more than once a year usually. So 2 summers ago, my oldest niece graduated from high school. So I went home in May and then I saw them again in December. So I go for a long period of time. So good evening. It's evening here. It's pitch. I mean, I was out in Kifisia earlier and I was getting back on the metro to come home and the sun was setting and it was like 5:15 and I was just like and last night I was out again at like 5 o'clock and it's pitch black by the time I got home. It's the only thing I don't like about this time of year. I hate that it gets dark so early. I mean, I know we can't have dark, it be light until 9 o'clock like in the summer, but it'd be nice if it didn't get dark till like 7. Like, my body wanted to go to sleep at 7 o'clock last night. Like, at 7 o'clock, I was like, "Oh, I bet it's like 9 o'clock. I can start getting ready for bed and maybe go read my book for an hour." I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's only 7." Oh, so October 15th. I knew it was like in the beginning of October, but I can never know the date of Canadian Thanksgiving. Is it like always a specific day? Like in the US, like it's always the fourth Thursday of the month? Is y'all's always like the first weekend or second weekend or something of October? And I wonder why they're so different, like the days. Because, we're the only two countries that I know of that celebrate Thanksgiving. So I don't know. It's kind of like, I mean, there's probably a good reason, but it's kind of like, I don't know if I've talked about this on here, but, you know, electricity was invented in the modern age. And yet, very, we have what, like 4 or 5 or 6 different kinds of plugs and only some of the world uses 110 and only some of the world uses 220, but it actually in America, at least at our house, we have 110 like most people in the US, but our washer and dryer are 220. Explain that logic to me. Second Monday of October. Okay. Interesting. A Monday. That means you always get like a long week. Well, I guess we do too. Most people have like today and tomorrow off. So, do you usually get that whole week off? Like my youngest niece who's in what we call middle school, so she's 12. I had to think there for a minute. She got the whole week off. Like she has had school off this whole week. Now, when I was growing up, we got like out early on Wednesday and then we had Thursday, Friday off and that was it. But now they get like this whole I don't know, school has completely changed in Texas from when I was there. Like they get a fall break now. We never got a fall break. So, I don't know. I'm really glad that I'm not in school with social media though. Like I will be forever grateful that I am not growing up in the age of social media. So, Just the Monday off. Yeah, okay. Interesting. I find that like, I find different holidays, like, what people get off for school or work or whatever, very interesting, like, obviously, here in Greece, there's no Thanksgiving, so today was just, like, a normal day. The metro was packed. Um, but, like, Easter, they're off for, like, 2 weeks. We don't even get off at Easter. I think they get Good Friday. Good Friday, we get off. Anyway. Oh, no, it's not snowing in Athens, it's not even cold enough to snow. It's Today was 18 degrees outside. Um, Now we are supposed to get I was saying earlier, we're supposed to get rain this weekend, but it's not gonna be cold. It's gonna be like I think it's gonna be like, I don't know in Celsius because 'cause I've been looking at I go back and forth between Celsius and Fahrenheit because 'cause I'm always having to tell my family the temperature, but I have all of my stuff in Celsius because 'cause I'm trying to, adjust. So, let's see. Yeah, it's gonna be 18 on Saturday and 14 on Sunday. So, I don't know how who's spreading that vicious rumor? It did snow in Kozani a few weeks ago. A lot. Well, it looked like a lot, but I'm also from Texas, so more than an inch. I'm like, "Ooh, lots of snow." So, -2? No, thank you. I'll pass. 4 is my limit. I mean, I've definitely been colder, like, when I went to New York last January, I was very quickly reminded of why I don't live there anymore because it was so cold. And I'm so Mediterranean now in terms of like what I can tolerate, although not as much as the Greeks. But like normally when I lived there, like I could go out in jeans and a heavy coat and a sweater and like two scarves and a hat and gloves and I'd be fine. I had on thermal leggings underneath my pants and two scarves and the hat and everything. And I was like a popsicle. Like I was like, I hate this. So, but that was part of the reason I left New York. I mean, it wasn't the only reason. It wasn't even the main reason, but it was so cold the last January that I lived there. It never got above 20 Fahrenheit. So below freezing for like an entire month. So I'm really interested you should need to come back and report to us what Athens is like at Christmas time. Like I'm always here for a little bit in December and then that's it. Like, I'm never here on Christmas Day. I've been here on New Year's Eve, but usually I'm recovering from jet lag, so I never go out. Um, I'm usually asleep before it turns midnight. Now, last year I didn't. Last year I stayed in Texas longer and decided to do New Year's Eve there, which was a lot of fun because I spent it with my neighbors because my parents play bridge for New Year's Eve. And they had invited all of our neighbors over to play. What did we play? Did we play cards? Yeah, there was some game, or was it Yeah, it was cards. And there was some game, and I can't remember what the game is. I don't think I can say the name of the game actually on YouTube. So we won't. Anyway, but it was really fun. We had a great time. And then we watched. So in Dallas, we have a tower called Reunion Tower and it's a ball and it lights up. And so there it's all lit up and then at midnight they shoot off fireworks in there. So we watched that and they had a drone show. So like a programmed one with like different things and it was so fun. I loved it. Like I would rather watch a drone show than fireworks at this point because it's just like so cool. I'm excited about this metro too. Now, somebody asked me in a comment a few weeks if well, they didn't ask me. They said, "Oh, we hope the next video is in Thessaloniki of the new metro," but I can't just go there for the opening of the new metro. But I think it's going to be really, I think it's going to be really great, like super modern, and hopefully they'll do what they've done here in Athens, which is put a lot of the artifacts that they found in the metro. When I was there last year, I could see the entrances and they looked really like shiny, like literally shiny. Um, so hopefully they're really nice. Yeah, 18 and a half years of waiting. I can't believe it. So I'm afraid that's what's going to happen to the new line here that they've started. Like, I just know they're going to find so much stuff. And I'm like, they said 8 years. I say 10 at least. So we'll see. Hopefully in my lifetime. So, okay. Yeah. The New Year's Eve fireworks. I I know a lot of people go to Synctagma, but I don't know where they light them up. I don't know if they go over Parliament or if they go over the Acropolis. I'm sure if you went on YouTube and look to see like which direction they are, it might then you could figure out which hill might be good to be on. Um, I guess as long as it's happening in front of you, it's fine. It might be that Lycabettus is the best place to go. So um, I don't know, or maybe just a nice rooftop bar. Yeah, I was thinking like Lycabettus because then you can see like everything. You can see the Acropolis and everything down. Um, that might be a good option. Um, but yeah, always there's so many rooftop bars here too. Like that's always a good spot too. Like if you can find, I would also like if you're gonna do that, find one and make a reservation because I'll probably be really busy. I don't think you could probably book now and it'd be fine since people don't really plan in advance here. If you booked anything now, you might be okay. Um, but yeah, I'm curious to find out what it's like here. Tom, you're gonna have to report back to us on Christmas and New Year's Eve here in Athens. I'm determined one year that I should stay, but it's really hard to be away from my family when I only go home once a year. So um, we'll see. Maybe one year, many years from now, when my niece graduates high school and I go home in the summer for that, I'll skip it that year. I don't know. When I lived in Qatar, I would go home twice a year. And so only going home once a year it's kind of difficult, but it's so darn expensive. So anyway, what are you guys doing for Christmas? Since I think most of you are not American and probably not celebrating Thanksgiving today. So tell me what you're doing for Christmas. Are you going somewhere or what you normally do love on like Christmas? I'm always interested in hear what people do. I was gonna say Philippopolis Hill, but the problem is, like you said, I don't know what it would be like up there at night. It does not have great lighting, and it's pretty empty. And in my mind, empty means not safe. um, Now, if you were on the side, like facing the Acropolis, it might not be so empty, but it's pretty empty up there, like all the time. It's not a super popular place to go for. I mean, it is like if you're going to walk up from the Acropolis and kind of go into it a little bit, but like if you're up near the Philippopolis Monument, it's pretty dead. Like unless it's sunset, and then that's it. But yeah, I'm not sure how safe it is up there. So maybe you could go up there like the night before and just get a feel for it. I don't know. New Year's Eve could be different too. I don't know. Oh, that's nice. Sometimes I wish I lived within walking distance of my parents. Uh, so, oh, thank you, Jacob. I'm going to the US soon, so I I might even I don't even know what day it is. I might even miss you by the time you get here. So I appreciate the offer. Um, I will pick up tons of stuff when I go home. I've already ordered a bunch of stuff. Um, and I have a running list of things that I need to buy while I'm there. Sadly, it's not usually anything fun. It's like Advil and allergy medication and I forget, underwear. Yes, I know we have all of these things in Greece, but I can get a giant bottle of Advil, aka ibuprofen, in the US for like I can't even tell you the difference in cost. So I can get like a 20 pack of ibuprofen here, and I think it's like €5 or €6. So it's not expensive, but I can get a 500 count of Advil in the US for $12.99. So, and everybody's like, "Oh, how can you?" I get migraines. I have other pain issues, and so unfortunately, I take a lot of ibuprofen. The 200 count bottle that I bought last year. Now, granted, I broke into it while I was in the US already. It's gone. It's been gone. So, I'm sorry you're alone in the Netherlands for Christmas, although that is where I have spent Christmas alone once I was in Amsterdam. And so I went to one of the museums Christmas morning, and then I came back and opened presents once it was time with my family, and I was cat sitting for some people, so I was in someone's house, so I was able to, like, make food, and what was great is I went to Albert Heijn for all my groceries, and oh my gosh, the food was so I bought, like, stuff that was, like, not pre-cooked, but it was, like, pre-made, and all you had to do was cook it, and oh my gosh, I had this stuffed it was like a stuffed chicken breast from there, and it was so good. I did have a mishap checking out, but that's a story for another time. So happy Thanksgiving. Yes, US expensive. Talk about expensive. So I today I was up in Kifisia and I went to Thanopolis, which is obviously a Greek grocery store, but they have a lot of American products. And so, and one of them is peanut butter. They don't have the brand that I like. They have Skippy. They don't always have it though, and most of the time when I've been there, they've only had chunky. I don't like chunky, I want smooth, and I saw it today, I was like, "Oh, they have smooth." No, I have finally found a Greek peanut butter that I do like. It's not as good as Peter Pan, but I like it. And I was like, "Oh, let's see how much the Skippy is." It was like 6 euros and 49 cents, and I was like, "Are you kidding?" And it was like the small one, it's like the size of this. And I was like, "Well, how much is the Greek peanut butter?" Because I don't pay attention. I'm like, "Well, I want it, I'm gonna buy it." Especially if it's food. It was like 250. I'm like, "You're telling me that you wanted me to pay 4 more euros for American peanut butter?" I'm like, "Nope, I'm not doing it." So, one of you, who I don't think is in here right now, because I'm sure he's a Texan, so he's probably celebrating Thanksgiving, and over the summer, he brought me the 1-pound jar of Peter Pan peanut butter, and it only lasted until, like, September. I like my peanut butter. So, you will you're gonna fly north. I've heard of them. The problem is that I then have to book a flight from Texas to New York and then back. Like, so it doesn't always work out to be cheaper for me because then I have to book a separate flight. But I do have lots of miles, so I'm hoping that and I always forget to use them. And this year there was the issue of my residence permit being renewed and my passport was going to expire. So I didn't book my ticket until October, which is extremely late for me to book my Christmas ticket. It was to the point where I was like, maybe I just won't go or I'll go later, like I'll go in January and then but it all worked out. Um so yeah, it kind of depends. I mean, if I could book a flight from Dallas to New York and it's not expensive or I can use my miles, then it's not a big deal. But then there's the issue of like, if something happens from my flight from Dallas to New York and I potentially miss that flight from Athens to New York, then or New York to Athens, it's an issue. So yeah, but I might look into it. There's a couple of like not discount, but um I guess they are discount airlines that do that. Like there is what's it called? It's this business class only company. I don't know how to say it, but it's a French business class only flight. The only thing is they fly mainly out of Paris. Um, but again, I'd have to get to New York and then get from Paris to Athens. So, um, and I'm sorry, I don't want to be stuck in Paris for any reason at all. Where's the best Thanksgiving dinner? I don't know. So I've gone different places almost every year. So the first year that I was here, well, so I came here in 2019 and was going to live in Naxos and couldn't find an apartment in Naxos. And then I came to Athens and I got kind of frustrated with the process here. And I felt like, and at the time I wasn't working where I am now, I wasn't making a lot of money and everything just seemed so expensive and I was really overwhelmed. So I had some credit at a co-living space in Spain and I went there. So I ended up having Thanksgiving in Spain. The next year we were in lockdown and I ordered from St. George, the St. George Lick Betis. That was great. That was really, really good, but it is very expensive. It was like, I want to say it was like 55 euros. Um, Now, granted, that's like a five-star hotel, so it doesn't surprise me. And like I said earlier, I got several meals out of it, though. I think I had like 2.5 meals. So it was a good portion, but it was really good. Like the turkey was really good, and they had Brussels sprouts, and I actually like Brussels sprouts. So and it included dessert and everything. So and then the next year I went to Po' Boys, which that was good, but it's very Southern American. Like it is a New Orleans style restaurant. So if you're not from the South, you may not like it. Now, I don't think they did it this year because that's where I ordered my mac and cheese for today, and I didn't see it on the delivery menu. But maybe in person was different. I don't know. But like the Grand Bretagne used to do a Thanksgiving, but I couldn't find any information. But a lot of stuff here in Athens, even in Greece in general, like, you don't find out about it until, like, the day before. Like, I've never really been able to confirm whether or not the tree lighting in Singtagma is happening tonight or not. I think it is, but I'm not sure. Like, it wasn't announced anywhere. I've been to the square many times, and they're working on the tree, and they put up the stage, but, like, yesterday when I was there, the tree wasn't even decorated yet, and they had turned the lights on, but only the lights in the middle of the tree were on. It was weird. So, the other place that offers Thanksgiving is the Hard Rock Cafe, but I've heard it's not great. That's where I was gonna try to order from though, just because I was like, well, it's turkey. Tonight when I was looking at like where I was gonna order dinner from, there was a place that there's turkey patties are somewhat popular here. And they had so one place had like something and a turkey salad, and I was like, maybe I'll get that. It's like it's turkey. Although like turkey isn't like I like turkey, but it's not a make or break it situation for me. So this year's Thanksgiving was a giant thing of mac and cheese. So yeah, Thanopolis has a lot of American product, although not as much as I thought they would. Like all the Americans here are like, oh, they have American products. And I go there and I'm like, they have like a handful. Like I don't really consider it like an American grocery store. So although there isn't really what I would call an American style grocery store here. Not that there needs to be. I'm just like there are some that are bigger, like Greek grocery stores, like the Alpha Vita in like near Alamos, near Glyphada. That thing is the most like an American in terms of like size and layout and like selection. Um, Now, what I do like about the Thanopolis is they do have a deeper like selection of kinds of products. You don't just go in and you've got like 5 things of that. Um, but it's not a lot of it is not really stuff that I'm looking for. So like today I went in there. Well, I really went in there today because they do have like pots and pans and stuff. And I wanted to get a shallow but small rectangular baking tray. I also wanted to get a muffin tin. They didn't have either thing. So I'm gonna have to go to like a kitchen supply type store, which I've seen one, but I don't know. Like I think it's kind of expensive, so I need to do some like research on where the best places to buy those. I don't really want to buy cookware at IKEA, but it may come down to that. um, we'll see. I really So part of the reason I want this, 2 reasons. One is I wanna make focaccia bread, and if you see next week's video, you'll probably realize why. And then I've been wanting to make, like, egg cups for breakfast, like, pre-make them, but you can make them in the muffin tin, and I don't have those. And I've seen, like, you can get the little, the cupcake paper, or you can get the metal ones, but they're not, so I'd have to put them on something because I don't have, like, my oven, it's an oven rack, so I can't just stick them on there because they might fall and it's not stable. So, um, yeah, anyway. Can you tell that I'm not a cook and that I don't know where these things exist? So, um, I need to check the bigger supermarkets. Like, I need to check, like, the bigger Alphavita or the bigger Slavonitas because I think they will have things like that. Anyway, we'll see. Baba Don, the kebab house. Oh, yeah, that's kind of far for me though. Is it near the metro? um, yeah, since I don't have a car, I tend to not go anywhere. I mean, I will take the bus places, but it just takes so long. Like, going to Kifisia takes me at least an hour. Today, it took me an hour and 15 minutes to get it where I needed to be in Kifisia. And then, well, it took me longer to get home because I stopped to pet cats. I went into the supermarket and then, like, a dilly dallied on the way home. I actually went into the bread factory near Screwfix because I wanted to see if they had American style pie, and they didn't. I don't know why I thought they would, but I just thought, oh, maybe they would. So there's this place near me called, well, it's not really near me, but there's another one. There's another one down in Singtagma called, well, it's not Singtagma. I don't remember where it is. Maybe it's Hiragi. Anyway, it's called Sugar Killer, and it's all sugar-free desserts. It's amazing. And some of the desserts, like, they make a brownie, like a non-fudgy, just a cakey brownie, and they serve it warm. So good. Glyphata from Center Metro tram walking. That sounds like a lot of work. When you say, "Oh, they don't have turkey, just kebab." Okay. Okay, Argolapoli. Alright, Metro walking, that's easier. I'd rather just walk a little further. So, yes. Sometimes you just need, like, a taste of home at the holidays, like, um, like, our family, I mean, I make a turkey for both. If I was home for Thanksgiving, I would make a turkey, and then at Christmas, I'll make a turkey, but we also order what in the US we call a honey baked ham. It's a spiral cut honey baked ham, and, it's something we just kind of order and we eat on, like, we don't serve it as a meal, it's just something that we snack on, and then my mom will sometimes make bean soup with the bone. It is so good. So good, and I wouldn't even know where to get that here. Like, I don't even think I've seen a ham like that here, and I wouldn't possibly know how to make it, and then if I did bake one, I would need to give it to the neighbors because 'cause I'd probably get tired of it because I couldn't eat it all. So, I have been through Marusi and Iraklio on the metro, but I haven't gotten off there. I I really like the way Iraklio looks. It looks really cute. Like, when we stop there, I'm like, the square looks really nice here. But I haven't been there. So there's so much of, like, the suburb type areas of Athens that I haven't seen. Because I don't really know anything about them other than getting off the metro. But then I don't know what there is in that neighborhood. So, like, today when I was in Kifisia, I, like, well, that was the other reason it took me a while to get back because I walked around Kifisia. I, like, went out of where I normally go and went down a little bit further and discovered all these other shops and an American vintage store, which is weird because it's not a brand that I see in Europe, at least not in Greece. Um, Although I do feel like Kifisia reminds me a lot of America, or at least that shopping area reminds me of America, so that could be why. But I they have a natural history museum up there, so I wanna go there at some point and see what's at the Natural History Museum. So, I don't think it's gonna be like the one in New York where there's a dinosaur, but I'm still super curious about it. So, um, I've been trying to do new things here. So maybe I will get out on the metro one day in one of those places when I have more time. And I'm not hosting a live on YouTube. So, um, but yeah. So so tell me, Tom, what is the British things that you're bringing food-wise that you're bringing with you that you're bringing to Greece? I'm curious. Like, I'm assuming that you're bringing the crackers that have the hats in them. That's a very British thing. I know that's not food, but I figure those are probably easy to pack. So, what I have noticed this year here is that the Christmas cookies, the Greek, um, the Greek traditional Greek Christmas cookies are out in force, like already. Like everybody has them boxed up. Have everybody has them like they're in fancy boxes, and it's not just the bakeries. Like everybody has them out. I was in Ergon House last night, and they have all their Christmas stuff out too. Like they have all these like pre-made gift boxes and all that. So, um, yeah, it's kind of I'm kind of surprised actually. It feels like it's getting earlier and earlier here every year. Much like the rest of the world probably feels that way. That Christmas just is here. I mean, I did put up my Christmas tree like in November, but that's just because I don't kind of ready for Christmas. I think I was ready to go home. Still ready to go home, but I was like, this makes me feel like that Christmas. So um anyway, next time I don't even know what I'm doing next summer. I know what I'm doing in March. And past that, I know nothing. Try the profiterole from huh. I have not seen that place on our is it on, like, in with all the, like, the clothing shops and stuff? I'll look it up, obviously, but, um, I love a good profiterole. Please tell me it's chocolate, with the okay, great. I will go on a hunt. So, I discovered some new places this last week, and that'll be in next week's video, and one of them has to do with bread, and it was really good. That's all I'm gonna say. So oh, that's good to know. I love a good coffee shop. That's one of the things that I'm trying to do is, like, find not just, like, the regular Greek coffee shops where, like, Yaya and Papu go hang out at. Not just the Cafe Neon and the places that have been here forever and people go there just because, like, places that actually do really good coffee, um, and so that was one of the things I was trying to do this week is try to find really good coffee. Um, and my definition of good coffee may not be your definition of good coffee either, because I don't drink cold coffee and I don't put anything in my coffee. So the coffee has to actually taste good. So crackers, Christmas pudding. What's Christmas pudding? Is that some sort of weird British thing where it's like you call it a pudding, but it's actually a piece of pastry, like the Yorkshire pudding? Sorry. It always makes me laugh. Stuffing. Okay, what's your version of stuffing? Because in America, stuffing is like for some people, it's stuffing that you put in a bread or in the bird, or it's some people like in the South we call it dressing, but it's like dried breadcrumbs and usually sausage, celery, and like made in like chicken broth or the turkey juices and stuff. So I want to know what your stuffing is. Oh, yeah, but we have lots of vegan places here. Um, so you know, I mean, not lots, but more than you would think. Um, there's this great place called now, of course, I don't know if they'll be open for Christmas, so maybe that's why you're bringing some of this, but there's this place called Wild Souls. It's down near Syntagma, and it's a vegetarian vegan place. I really like that place. They have this they call it the wild taco salad. It's really good. They have falafel and avocado, corn, tortilla chips, and some kind of dressing that I can't think of what the dressing is now, but it is so good. And, like, as a Texan, even for me, it's really good. So, yeah, I really like Wild Souls. And then there's avocado, and then there's another place called Nudie Foodie, and Nudie Foodie actually has, um, gluten-free. I haven't eaten there, but, I've heard great things. So oh, we're getting all the good profiterole places. Christmas pudding, pudding of fruit, nuts, and lots of booze. It's not like a bread, is it? Because sounds like fruitcake. Oh, you're going to Mambiasa for Christmas? I bet that's beautiful. I bet the village puts out tons of Christmas lights, and I haven't even been there yet in general. I think next summer I might be going there. We'll see. Excuse me, guys. Um, I drank a ton of water before this started, so that way I wouldn't, like, get all and it's not sitting well with me. I'm hoping so I have a friend like you guys have seen if you've been watching me for a while that I've gone sailing every summer with a friend of mine, and the boat is really small and it can't handle a lot of the wind and the big swell here, so but he's had good luck sailing the coast of the Peloponnese, so we're hoping that that's what we'll do, but, you can't decide that until you get here and you see what the weather is like. So, we'll see. But yes. Yes, vegan beet. Huh. And where tonight when I was looking through someplace to order food from, I don't remember what it was. Now, I don't know if it would be vegan friendly because I don't know what the condiments were, but they had something with, like, stuffed mushrooms, like, it was like a mushroom gyro or something. I was like, "Oh, that sounds good." I really like mushrooms, so, like, I was intrigued by the mushroom thing. So, and a place I ate at this last week. Now I don't know about the vegan part because I don't know what the dressing was, but they had a beetroot salad thing that looked really good. So if you watch next week's video, you'll see that. Now I'd have to check and see how vegan it could possibly be. So okay, Christmas pudding is a fruitcake base. Okay, I hate fruitcake, but you know what? I would try it once just to at least try it. My grandmother used to make a fruit cake every year. I never ate that thing. I ate it once and I was like, "Nope, that's not for me." And then she'd mail them to us sometimes, even though we went there. I don't know why, but or maybe she sent them home with us. I don't know. I do not like fruitcake. Ugh. What is a minced meat pie? Is that a meat pie? So in the US, we don't have anything called minced. I think it's ground beef is what we call it. So tell me what's in mincemeat. Okay, but what's in it besides, like, ground beef? Is it, like, onions and stuff, or is it just and is it like a pastry pie, like a spanakopita pie? Oh, it's not meat? What? It's a fruit pie. What fruit? Okay. Anyway, more the fruit of the real thing. What's the okay, John, you're saying that there's a fruit version and a real English version, and I'd like to know the difference. Okay. But what kind of fruit? You British are very deceptive. And is that like a traditional, like, Christmas thing, a mince meat pie? Because John's saying he'd have it at Thanksgiving. I'm curious. I'm doing all the question answering today. And since it's a lot of British people here, do you like, um or do you make macaroni and cheese? I know that's a very American thing, but I we don't do it at our house because 'cause we're a little more traditional, but a lot of especially in the South, a lot of people have mac and cheese at, Thanksgiving and Christmas, so I'm sure I would Belgian mini eclairs, okay. I'm just gonna gain weight, basically, if I go down Irma at this point. Okay, raisins, currants, sugar, lemon juice, and a few other things. So it's like dried fruit pie. Interesting. Alright. Well, some British person's gonna have to make me one year. 'Cause I've never I well, trying to think if I've been to the UK around Christmas time. I don't think I have. No. And so, yeah, I've never seen pecan pie here. I don't even often see pecans, so that could be difficult. Now you can find pumpkin pie, and they do sell, like, pumpkin pie, like, filling well, it's not pumpkin pie filling, but they sell the pumpkin puree in some places, like the Thinopolis that I went to, like, I was walking around to go downstairs where the baking ware is, and I walked past and they had Stouffer's stovetop stuffing. And they also have the Kraft boxed mac and cheese, which in Canada, I think they call it or maybe it's in the UK, you call it Kraft dinner, which I think is hilarious. So, vegan beet is on per near ooh, I might have to try that because I love mushrooms, and a mushroom gyro sounds fantastic. Alright, I could get behind like, apples, raisins, cranberries, and yeah, that's yeah, that I like fruit. I just don't want fruit in cake. I don't I don't fruit I think the reason I don't like fruit cake is it always is really dry because they make it in advance. It's like Christmas cake, like, in the South, they feed it with alcohol and it whatever. So, um, Jim, there are so many places that I need to go in Greece. I have been getting a lot of requests about roads, like, "Do I have information on roads?" And I've not been, and so I'm like, "Alright, at some point, I'm gonna have to go to some of these places." There's even a small chance that I might try to go to Mykonos for the day next year. I can't afford to stay there, but I got this, like, voucher for this tour company, and I found they go to Mykonos for the day from Athens. It'll be a really long day, but, I'm considering doing it just so that I can say I've been to Mykonos and I don't have to spend tons and tons of money on it. So, John, I'm going to check your message on Instagram to see what mince pie looks like. Oh, but it does kinda look like meat. Is that why it's called mince pie? Oh, they're small. It's not like a big or maybe that's just your example. It's not like a big like an American apple pie or pecan pie. So it's not like fruit cake. It's more like a pie with, like, mixed fruit in it. Now that's good. That I can get behind for sure. Thank you, Peter. They're small. I like that even better because then I can eat one and then be like, "No, I've had enough, thanks." I was gonna order pie from a place here for Thanksgiving, and it was a pumpkin pie, but I had to order the whole pie. And I was like, "No, because then I'll eat the whole pie." And Christmas is coming, and do you see this? This is from a summer of overeating, so I don't need to encourage that. My goal in 2025 is to get into shape. Like, not necessarily, like, thin, just to not be out of breath when I walk everywhere. So, I'm gonna stop looking at that photo, John, because now I'm hungry. for one. Now I want one. I'm not hungry because I just had a giant platter of mac and cheese. So, see, I like nuts. I like dried fruit. So, George, of course I do. I just I don't eat them very often. Um there's a really good place near me that I love. Like I've discovered like I like theirs, but I'm not a big fast food person. And to me that is kind of like fast food. And so, it's not I think it's like, I like them, but I don't crave having them. Does that make sense? Um, yeah, but they are good and they're cheap. That's like, a really great thing about them is they're really inexpensive, and if you think about it, like, they have everything in it, right? Like, you get bread, you get vegetables, you get protein, and yeah, so it's pretty I mean, it's probably not great for you, but I don't know. I mean, the process in which they're cooked by seems like it would be healthy because it's kind of like just grilling it, but like slowly. I don't know. Maybe that's I'm not such a big fan of the pork ones. I would I don't know why, but anyway, I like the pork, the kalamaki, but I don't like it in the bread for some reason. So I usually get chicken and I like it with sauce. I like tzatziki, but not on my chicken gyro. It's weird. I know that doesn't normally come that way, but you know what? Like, and I'm sure you realize this, but like, euros are different everywhere. I mean, not like majorly different, but like everywhere it's slightly different. And I've had some amazing ones. Like the one I had in Iraklia over the summer was amazing. Like super fresh. I think they'd made their own sauce. It was really, really good. So, okay, the mince pies come in a box of 6. That's dangerous. All right, that's something you get with friends and you share. Um, do I visit winter destinations in Greece? Sometimes. I mean, last year I went to Thessaloniki in December. Now, technically, that's not winter yet, but I'm not usually here a lot in the winter. Like, I'm staying in the US till almost the end of January. And then I'm usually back for like a week or two. And then I have to go to Qatar for work for 2 weeks. So, a lot of times by the time I get back, it's almost spring and I've missed it. But that's partly another reason why is I'm not a winter person. Like, I don't ski. I don't there's not a lot I enjoy about winter other than it's pretty. So, yeah, but I need to. I want to. I really wanna try to go, even if it's just for the weekend, because I don't ski, is to go to Arakava because I've been to Delphi and went through there and I was like, "Oh, this is really pretty." Um, I just haven't done it. Why have you changed your mind about fruitcake, LAB? Because 'Cause I'm curious. How do you make it better? Oh, Rachel's trifle from Friends. Oh, that thing. What happened there? Like, she like, 2 pages got stuck together and ripped, and, like, so half the recipe was for the trifle and the other thing was the fruit cake or something? I don't know why she ever thought that that was, uh anyway, even Rachel isn't really that dumb. Anyway, hello from Lowell, Massachusetts. I hope it's not freezing there. How cold is it in Lowell? And happy Thanksgiving. There aren't very many Americans here. That's okay. When I lived in Qatar, I had lots of Thanksgivings with lots of people from different places. So, and it was always interesting to see what the non-Americans would bring. Like, because I would make the meat and like one or two sides, and then I would ask because I invited like I would have like 15 people over for Thanksgiving, and so I was like, you have to bring something. I can't make everything myself, and so it's always interesting. And then I had one friend that would just bring wine, tons of wine. But he lived in my building, so it's easy for him to just truck down the elevator. So, oh, it's rainy. Mm, that's not a nice Thanksgiving. So, it is a cold. Hopefully, it's not cold and raining. Happy Thanksgiving, George. George, are you Greek American or tell me? Um, so let's see. My Greek lessons. So, I'm starting to understand a lot, but I can't respond. I just kind of look at people and go, uh, I can sometimes like respond with one word, but this woman was staring at me on the bus the other day because she was talking about meeting people and she was like, "No, I'm almost there." And like she was obviously meeting friends, and I'm just intently listening to the conversation because I can understand what's happening. And she looked at me like, "Can you not?" I was like, "Oops." So, yeah, this is true. You don't have to shovel rain. Good point. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but running makes you warm. But if it's, I mean, your version of cold is probably not my version of cold at this point. So it's probably not that bad. Does cottage pie slash heifer pie have potatoes? Am I thinking of that correctly? It has like a layer of mashed potatoes. Hostess had fruitcake. Yeah, yeah. Fruitcake is not something I want to eat all year long, but that's interesting. It has mash on top. Okay, I thought it had mashed potatoes somewhere in it, and I just couldn't think. I didn't know Hostess made fruitcakes. Now I need to look for that when I go to the US. See, that sounds good to me. I love peas. I so part of my heritage is that I am, British background, and I think it must be built into British people that we love peas. I don't know. Am I like, do other British people love peas? I love peas. Like, I don't have any frozen vegetables in my refrigerator except frozen peas. You could serve me peas with every meal, and I'd probably be a very happy person. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to read messages, and I'm feel like I've missed a step somewhere here. You hate peas, John. All right. Well, I love mushrooms and I love peas. Carrots, I could take them or leave them. Unless it's a carrot cake, then that's a whole different story. Or or not that most of you British people would understand this, but carrots dipped in ranch dressing. So, you are Greek American. I just had a feeling. Mainly because you called yourself George and not Yorgos. So, Low Technical Institute is now University of Mass Lowell. That's interesting. I didn't even know there was a Lowell Technical Institute. Hmm. You mean like Brussels sprouts? I love Brussels sprouts. I like alfalfa sprouts too. I now my mother didn't make Brussels sprouts, but I was raised by parents who what my mom made for everyone is what everyone ate. I know some parents make different meals for their kids. My mother wasn't going to do that. So I grew up eating a wide variety of vegetables. So vegetables don't bother me. Like, and I love broccoli too. Like, give me like some steamed broccoli with some salt on it, and I'm pretty happy with that too. So, um, Cincinnati. I've not been into Cincinnati. I've driven through Ohio, but I don't think I went through Cincinnati. I think I went through Cleveland, but it was just a driving stop. So, Pecan Lodge. We always make our own, but um, Pecan Lodge is very well known. But no, we make our own. I make the turkey in our house, and every year my nieces exclaim how much better it is than my mother's in front of my mother, and that's kind of embarrassing. So, but yeah, although at home we don't make a whole turkey, we only make a turkey breast because most of my family does not like dark meat. My dad and I will eat it, but nobody else will. So we just make a turkey breast, but I make it slow in the oven and I coat it and all sorts of. I make my turkey with olive oil. I think everybody's like, "How do you get your turkey so moist?" And I'm like, "Olive oil. Coat that sucker in olive oil." So, oh, things are going by too fast. Excellent. Now that is a okay, what is my immigration plan? Now, my immigration plan has changed. Originally, I was just going to stay here and get permanent residency. That you then have to, but see, here it's not permanent in Greece. You still have to renew it like every 5 years, at least for me, not for people who are here who were British and they were here before and Brexit, they're allowed to stay because of the withdrawal agreement. For me, I could get a 5-year permanent residency card. However, I have to I still have to take a language test for that, um, but it's not to the citizenship level, it's to, like, A2, I believe. This is a new thing as well for Greece. Um, and that's originally like, I was just gonna stay here on this one that I'm on forever because I just thought it doesn't really make sense, and I don't really need like, my passport is, like, good enough to go where most of the places I need to go without having to do a lot. But they keep making this residence permit renewal process, like, such a pain. So I that's why I started taking the Greek lessons this summer because in 2 years I will be eligible to take the citizenship exam. Well, I think I can take the exam whenever, but I can apply for citizenship then, and so that's my plan. Um, I hope I can pass the test. It's really hard. I mean, it's to B2 level, and then there are all these, like, geography and history and politics questions and history questions, and I think, like, the geography will be easy, some of the history will be easy, but, like, politics, I don't understand Greek politics. So, and I was talking to a woman the other day who is studying to take it as well, and she said that one of the questions was just a picture of a general, and you had to know who it was. She's like, and it was Colocatroni, but she's like, "I don't know what Colocatroni looks like." I'm like, yeah, so that's I'm a little bit worried about that part. I'm not worried about, like, knowing the answer because I have a really great capacity to memorize, but I'm just hoping and there's, like, I think it's, like, 500 and something questions that they can it's not that you have to answer that many, but they pull, like, 5, but it can be any one of those 100 and something questions that they can pull. The book that you get is, like, this big to study the questions. So, yeah, and that part of the exam is also given in Greek. So I can't really even start studying for it now because there's no point. Broccoli with melted cheese. Now, I don't think you have this in the UK, but broccoli with Velveeta cheese because it's like this melty cheese. So good. I don't like mushy peas. I like peas, but not mushy peas. I love fish and chips. Not with gravy, though. I like it with the vinegar. Yes, I plan on doing the citizenship. Um, just the test. It's not impossible. It's just you have to meet all these requirements. You have to be here for so long. You have to do the test. And the my Greek teacher that I'm taking, um, he's actually given the exam. Like he's proctored the exam, and there's an oral part. I try not to think about it too much because I think if I think about it, I might not do it. But my teacher seems he's like every week, he's like, "I see improvement." I'm like, "Okay, I still can't talk yet, but that's okay." So, but yeah, all those questions are in Greek and you have to answer them in Greek. Well, I think the questions, like that part is like multiple choice. Um, I don't think the whole the oral part is more like the interview where they're like, "Why do you wanna become a citizen?" That kind of spiel, like, "How are you involved?" That sort of thing, like, "Prove to us what" like, you're not just like, you don't want just Greek citizenship to have an EU passport. So would but that doesn't really make sense to me though, because, like, I'll have lived here for 7 years by that point, like, hello? So, anyway. Yeah, so I like the homemade turkey. So it's not just olive oil. So first I coat the bird in butter. Like I take a stick of butter and I rub the stick of butter all over it and like not melted, but like kind of thick. And then whatever is left over, I shove the rest inside the turkey. Then I put on the olive oil because that like keeps that butter inside of it. And then I put rosemary and sage and stuff on it. And then, if you want like carrots and potatoes and stuff, you can put that in the pan with it as well. So um I hope it's a multiple choice exam. Otherwise, if it's a multiple choice, I'm golden. It's fine. Like I can do that because I can make a really good educated guess at that point. So I have not had poutine. I don't know if I'm really gonna like cheese curds. I have a thing about texture with food. Like I don't like weird textured foods. Like I'm from the South and everybody loves grits. I hate them because I don't like the texture of them. It's blech. So I am planning at this moment in time, my plan is to stay here. I am too old to move again. And like even if I went back to Texas, none of my friends live well, nobody that I talk to currently, not that I wouldn't start talking to these people again, live in Texas, but I don't have very many friends left in Texas because a lot of my friends are international and so they live all over the world. And um, so, yeah, it's not that I have tons of friends here, but like I just like I have furniture here now. I've just told my landlord the other day that I want to renew my lease for another 3 years because that's typical here. So, and by the time I get citizenship, I'll be 50, and I can't imagine going to a new country and starting over again. I could go back to the US because obviously that's easier for me because I speak English and I know how it works. But I find being in the US really difficult. I have now been an expat/immigrant for over 10 years now. So going home is hard. And I thought when I went to New York that I would like, "Oh, I miss living here." No. I mean, I like visiting, but I don't wanna live there again. So and the rent prices in New York are insane. No, Tom, I'm afraid not. So B2 is the level, and I believe that B2 means you can speak in the past tense, if I'm correct. I can't remember it. Yeah, I'm not like, I know like, I'm nervous, but I know that, like, I'll get there. Um, you know, I have a master's degree. Jeez. Surely I can the thing is, like, I'm not although now, just in the last, like, 2 or 3 weeks, like, we've gotten further into, like, what the articles are when it's, like, the 2 are combined, like, the conjugation of things and how it relates to the endings changing and the articles of all the words. And now that I've kind of got the basics of the rules of that down, it's making a whole lot more sense now. Like, so I also do Duolingo on my own. And, you get in the Greek one, you get like a sentence and I'll have a word missing. But you need to figure out whether or not which one it should be. Should it be male, female, neutral, and you get choices. And I'm getting a whole lot better at picking the correct one of that. And let me tell you, that's like half the battle in Greek is that picking the correct ending of words and the correct article to that word. Now, if I could figure out when I'm supposed to use the article and when I'm not, then I would be better. I'm worried about past tense though, because past tense, it's not like in English where it's like, I went to, it's like a whole nother word. Um, so I'm a little, because you have to learn a whole nother set of words. And there are three kinds of verbs that all get, the endings are all different. They're all conjugated different. So it's not like in Spanish where they're all the verbs end in the same way. So anyway, um, like I said, like it's just yeah. So Um, I pay US taxes. Um, my company is obviously not Greek. So you just have to submit the way it works, at least for me. I don't know how it works because America has a tax agreement with Greece. So the way it works is you pay your taxes in the US and then you send your taxes to Greece and they tell you if you owe any more. But usually you're given a credit for what you paid in the US. So yeah, that's that's how it works for Americans because Americans were taxed everywhere. Oh, language translate. Oh, that's good because like that's the one thing about like listening. Like I can't because Greek speaks so fast. I'm like, what? Like if they speak slowly, I'm fine. But if they speak really fast, like I got on a taxi the other day and he was like, but I'm like, sorry, I didn't understand anything you said. Like I'd said that to him in Greek, but I was just like, you have to go slow. So happy Thanksgiving. Um, am I religious? I was raised Methodist, which unless you're American or maybe some British people know that. Um, we like to call it Catholic light, but it's not really it's only Catholic because of we have some similar traditions, but we don't have priests. We have ministers. They can get married, but I don't go anymore. I'll go at Christmas, but I don't go. Um, it's not really a thing for me anymore. Um, Duolingo is good for me because it's taught me a lot of vocabulary. And like my teacher's always like, "Oh, you know that word," and I'm like, "Yes, Duolingo." So um, when you're learning a new language, that repetition is really important. Like hearing it all the time, like being here. Like when I was listening to that lady's conversation on the bus, is really helpful because like even though I may not be able to respond, like I am always listening to try to figure out like what's happening. I ordered groceries. I don't do this often, but I ordered groceries to be delivered. And they called me to tell me they didn't have some of the things and did I want some alternatives. And the whole conversation, even though my answers were like, no, nothing, and okay, I still understood about 80% of what he was asking me. So that's good. At one point, he was just going so fast. I was like, and the thing he was telling me about, I don't know the words for in Greek. I knew what he was referring to because he referred to it by the brand, but I couldn't answer him. And I ended up not getting the thing that I wanted, but that was okay. Worked out. It's fine. I wish I knew that everyone needs deodorant today. Anyway, and yes, Greek is extremely difficult. Like the combination of letters that make sounds that we don't make in English is just like that's what my teacher's been working with me on in the last 2 lessons is like saying like "ftos" and the like words that letters like F and T, we don't other than the word left, because that's the example he's giving me, it's impossible. I'm like, "Ooh." And there was a new word. It means unfortunately, and I cannot say it. I now my spelling is getting better. Um, the tone notes throw me off, like where to put the accent marks, but I'll get there. I've driven past a Linicon. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited in the sense that I'm glad something's happening with that area because it was just kind of this wasteland. But what I wish they had done was use the buildings that were in existence, but they haven't. As far as I know, they've just torn them down. Now, I know a lot of the buildings had been like destroyed over the years, but they did keep 2 of the Olympic planes though, and one of them is on Posidonius Avenue, and the other one is in Elinicon. Like the construction's happening around it. I think they're going to move it at some point, but that's kind of cool. So I don't know how I feel about the rest of it. It feels very. I don't really like planned communities. Like that's not really. I don't know. They're so contrived, and I feel like sometimes they don't have a lot of soul. Now some of them do, but we'll see. Polish is more difficult. I don't know. You know what? At this point, like once I've learned Greek, I don't that's it. I'm done. Like, I keep thinking I wanna learn Italian, but I don't know if my brain will be able to hold a 3rd language. Have I thought about purchasing a property instead of renting? I am not gonna buy anything until I have citizenship, because if they decided that I couldn't stay, then I would have this apartment here and can't live in it, and that just seems silly. So, and I'm kind of hoping with all the changes of the rules to the golden visas, some of the housing prices will become more reasonable. Um, so, and ideally, I don't know, like, ideally, I would like to have a place in Athens and a place in Naxos, but right now I can't afford Naxos. I may never be able to afford that. So it may just be have to be something where I buy on a different island or I rent on an island and then just buy here in Athens. We'll see. So, but I would like to, but um, not really ready to do that until I have my citizenship. Clothes master. Is it a Greek? Is it like a language app? I'll have to look. Sissy, yeah, that word. I can't. I cannot say that. I'll get there. It took me about 2 years to learn how to say "Xenodohio," so I will get there. I have 2 years to learn how to say all these difficult words. So, um, I don't see Greek people really pushing their religion on, like, other people, but I will say that religion is much more a part of daily life in Greece than it is in the US, like, in the sense, like, the schools, like, on the first day of school, the priest comes and, like, does a ceremony, and, like, there's no separation of church and state like it is in the US, but I don't feel that pressure to, like, go to church or whatever here, like, nobody's I've never been asked to, like, go to church with someone here. Like, I was even dating a Greek guy for a few weeks, like 2 like, a month and a half, who was very religious. Did he ever ask me to go? No. Now, granted, he probably knew that I wouldn't understand that was going on, but, like, we would go out on Saturday, and he'd be like, "I gotta," it'd be, like, 11 or 12 o'clock, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go because church is early here. Church is, like, at 8 o'clock in the morning." Um, and he also helped with the Sunday school, like, after church, and so, but he never asked me to go. He was never like, "Oh, you have to be religious to go out," like, that was never an issue, so I don't know. Um, yeah, that's the only person I've dated here that has been religious like that, so that could have something to do with it too. Um, do I find it challenging when I have to go to the doctor? Um, not so much with the doctor, but with the nurses. The staff at the hospital, like the people like in reception and stuff, they're usually okay. Now, I was seeing a doctor here for a while who they had a staff person who answered the phone a lot and she did not understand English at all. So they would, and I would say, "Oh, it's Tiffany." And she'd hold on. I mean, she knew some very basic phrases. And so they would go get someone else because they knew that it was me and that I didn't speak Greek. But now I've kind of switched to just going to the hospital where I had my surgery last year, which is Euroclinic, and they're a very international like place. And so they most people speak English there. Like I had to go and pay that bill last week. And I mean, the ladies in the billing office were like, "Oh, our English is g—" I was speaking to them in Greek. I was like, "Sorry, my Greek's not great." And they're like, "Haha, our English isn't good." So, everybody tries. And most people, unlike in some countries, Greeks are very like, they're very nice about it. And like, if you go in and you say, Yasas or Kalimera or whatever, like people are a lot more receptive to trying to help. Like they're not gonna make fun of you for trying or if you don't speak much Greek, like, it's not a I don't feel shamed here that I don't speak Greek. So that's really nice, so Oh, he yes, everybody finds oh, even people find a first so hard to say, like, I was trying to teach some friends of mine how to say thank you when they were here, and he kept saying, "E Forresto," and I'm like, "Oh gosh, no." And when I would say it, he's like, "But there's an F in there," and I'm like, "No, not really." Like, it's not it's very subtle. So, um, where did I study? So I got my graduate degree in New York City, so I went to Pratt Institute, which the main campus is in Brooklyn, but then the graduate school is in Manhattan, so yeah, I don't know about the Atlantic the park is a good place to start, so we'll see. I mean, we'll see, like, how it goes. Maybe I should check it out and see. I think a lot of the I think a lot of the apartment buildings are sold already, so I don't think there's a lot of residential unsold building units, so, we'll see. But I think they're very expensive. Like, this is my concern is that they're, like, very expensive, so, like, only the elites of Athens are gonna be able to afford to live it. Like, I couldn't even buy an apartment there, it's so expensive, so we'll see. I would not know about children going into the Greek system because I don't have kids. Um, but I guess it depends, like, if he's I mean, if you were gonna do it, I would say you need to, um to start having him learn Greek before you come because, you know, I think if he was younger, it would probably be very easy to just drop them in there, but I think at 11, it might be too hard. I don't know. I hate to say it, but I know nothing about children. I have nieces and yeah, so yeah, definitely making mistakes is part of learning any language, but, um oh, and I definitely make them. Um, like, I told somebody asked me a couple of months ago, like, "Is this elevator going up or down?" And I was like, "Oh, it's going down," but I said up. I pointed down, but I said up. The poor lady, like, she didn't even get on the elevator with me. I think she was super confused. Like, I was probably super confused, so yes, they're supposed to open this weekend, so hopefully it will go well, and hopefully maybe I will end up there at some point. I mean, that's the other thing is you could send your kids to like Elle is saying that you could send your kids to an international school and then it wouldn't matter. They would still take Greek, I would imagine, at the school, but they would probably be taught in English. Um, there's even a German school here, like where they're taught in German. I think there's several languages of schools. So um, yeah. I don't know if I'd worry about it too much, but if they even if he's not gonna go to the Greek system, he definitely needs to it's gonna be so much more easier for him to learn at 11. I don't know if throwing them into the school and being taught in Greek would be manageable, but, it will still be easier than it will be for me at my age. If I only knew although Greek has never been an option, at least in the public schools that I went to in Texas. In my school, I could learn French or Spanish, and I obviously chose Spanish. So, and I don't know if there were other now maybe once I'd gone to university, but because I'd taken language and early in school, I didn't have to take it in university. So, hey, good to see you. My favorite Thanksgiving food, green bean casserole. What's yours? So that's my friend Jason, TLDR filmmaker. If you ever want to know about filming a commercial or anything, like filming in general, becoming like a YouTuber, he's your man. And he knows all the tech. Like he's the one that recommended this camera that I've been shooting with since last year and I still love it. So thank you, Jason. But yeah, green bean casserole and pumpkin pie. Even being from the South, pecan pie is not my favorite pumpkin pie, but I love pumpkin. Like, give me all the pumpkin flavored stuff except for coffee. Blech. But like pumpkin muffin, pumpkin bread, pumpkin smell like candles. I even bought 2 of those to bring back with me, and I will probably still burn them despite the fact that it's spring. So, yeah, see, that's what I think, like, if you can get them some lessons before you move at a Greek school or a Greek church, like an Orthodox church in your neighborhood, that would be even if it was just, like, the basics, like present tense, like, they at least get used to hearing it, and then they're gonna pick up on it faster, so mashed potatoes and gravy and stuffing. Oh, yeah, stuffing. If it's made well. Sometimes I get stuffing and I'm like, "Did you put any spices in this?" So, but I really like stuff, especially if it has, sausage in the stuffing. But that's because in our house, we don't stuff our turkey, we just make it on the side, which is probably technically dressing. So, have you had your Thanksgiving meal yet, Jason? That's what I'd like to know. Or are you sitting with me in Thanksgiving? Are you with your family? Wait, where are you? I have so many questions. Anyway, uh, one of my neighbors keeps commenting on my Facebook page, "How are you? When are you coming home?" And I feel kind of funny, like, answering them back like we're having our own personal conversation on my Facebook page, and that's kind of what this feels like right now. Like, um, the people that I'm like know in real life. So, um, anyway, but yeah, I'm gonna keep going. I know this is longer than I normally do, but it's Thanksgiving, so why not? And there's a good crowd of y'all here, so um, and so far I'm not losing my voice this time because usually by about the hour mark, my voice is going, and that's why I stocked up on the water because I know that's part of the problem. Although I do need to have a drink now. Uh-oh, but I did not fill my glass. That wasn't smart, was it? You've been eating. Oh, good. I thought about eating my food while I did this, but A, it seemed rude, and B, I figured I'd be trying to talk, and eventually you guys would see me with my mouth open with food, and I don't want that forever on the internet. You had Friendsgiving, so you're pre-stuffed. You're gonna make ribs for dinner. Oh, Jason, that sounds so good. Next year, I'm coming to your house for Thanksgiving. What kind of sandwiches, John? Hmm. I don't know why I'm interested in food. Like, I've just had a giant thing of mac and cheese. Anyway, Naxos in the winter and spring, it can be really rainy. It can be cold and it can be very windy. Um, it's nice though, like in the spring, it's nice because like all the flowers are blooming and the mountains are great to walk. Like that's if you want to like go hiking, which is a good thing to do there in the spring, like it'll be beautiful because all the spring flowers will be coming up. And most of the hiking trails, like in Naxos, are just from like village to village. So it's fairly, like, it's not strenuously hard. And then you can stop and have a coffee along the way. um, so it's a nice time to be there. I've been there in April. It is cold, but it wasn't miserable cold. Like it was just like, oh, it's chilly. I need a coat at night. Um, we still walked on the beach. I mean, a couple of years ago, I was swimming until November in Naxos, and that's not. I'm not a cold water swimmer. I don't. The med for me is like a ice bucket, like even in the summer. So, um, but the nice thing about Naxos is that it's not as closed down as a lot of the islands because they have such a large year-round population. Like there are plenty of restaurants and things. Now it'll be quiet, but there's still like restaurants open. Um, and you can always go to the beach, right? Like even if it's cold, you can at least enjoy walking up and down. And there's wildlife in Naxos because it's so big. So that's what I like about it. So yeah, let's see what happens. I'm hope obviously the beach will be somewhat free, but see, like it worries me because like over in August, I went down to the beach. What's the beach club called? I'm forgetting now, it's super popular. Anyway, but they charge you just to get on the beach, even if you wanted to sit in your own blanket, which I didn't think was allowed, but I paid it, but that's okay. So we'll see. I don't know if the beach will be free, but I'll check it out. I mean, I'll definitely go once it's more finished, or at least not a construction zone like it is right now, and see. Rhubarb and ginger jam sandwiches. I don't like ginger, but I love rhubarb. Happy Thanksgiving, Nick. Welcome. We are mostly British with a few Americans scattered in. I was kind of hoping that if I stayed on long enough, some of the Australians would be able to join because it's, let's see, I know in New Zealand it's about 8:30 in the morning. But this is the thing is I get complaints from the Australians that I'm on too early. But like it's 9:30 for me. So if I go on later, I don't know. There's not a good time for me to do this for everyone, unfortunately. Um, and if I thought I could talk for a really long period of time or talk this many hours over several days, I would do multiples. Like I would do one this weekend, but I know that I can't. um, so maybe I need to work up to it. Maybe it's like one of those things where you I mean, DJs have to do this, right? Like talk radio people, but they don't talk for the whole time, right? Like they usually are playing music and stuff, so they're not talking for the full like 3 hours they're on air, and they do it. So I'm making traditional turkey and stuffing with old golden beet and dill. Oh. Okay, can you send me a recipe for golden beet dill soup because I love beets and I love dill. That sounds fantastic. Ah, okay. Well, Kalispera, Nick. How's the weather in Zakynthos? Are you getting that rainstorm that we're supposed to get yet? Because I think it's supposed to come this way. So, do I get annoyed people who start going full Christmas? Well, when I lived in the US, I did because I was like, we still have Thanksgiving. But now that I'm here, Jason, I put this up like 2 weeks ago. So, and also I love Christmas. I think I'm less annoyed by it here because they don't play Christmas music everywhere here. Like, that's the thing that really annoyed me in the US is like, bam, Halloween happened, and then, like, the next day, everybody's playing Christmas music. By the time Christmas came around, I was like, "I don't wanna hear it anymore," and plus my mother loves Christmas music, so she's one of those people that starts playing it as soon as possible, and I was like, "I can't listen to Jingle Bells another time." Yeah, okay, thank you, Michael. I need to know how to make beet and dill soup. I love dill. I had you'll see if you guys watch next week's video, I had the most amazing tuna salad, and I specifically ordered because she was like, "Oh, it has dill in it." I was like, sign me up," and it was amazing. Ah, is your sausage guy there, John? I need to know because you've been talking about these sausages, and I want to know. And if he is, I need to see a picture because I need to. No, no. What about the Euro guy in the parking lot? Is he still there? And did you try the other one? Did you have chicken or pork? I think you had pork. Try. I can't remember now. Now I have to go look. I'm going to go look. John sends me pictures of his food a lot of times when he's going out and trying Greek food. I don't know, but now I'm looking at it and it looks really good. You had the pork. Yeah, chicken next week. That's what I thought. I was like, that looks like pork. So, um, not yet. Ooh, it got cold. Yeah. It's 13 here, but that's I think more normal for us than than you guys. But I don't know. I don't know what the weather is like in the Ionian in the winter. I did see somebody sailing the other day and the sea looked really rough. and they had all their wet gear on, and I was like, "Oh, they must be raining." So, I like pork. I just don't eat it that much, like, especially, like, at home. Like, I don't buy it. I just eat chicken at home, but, and I find that pork sometimes people don't do pork well. Now that if you guys watched my video of when I went to Geestry and I had pork steak for my birthday, that was really good. And then my sailing friend was here with me this summer, and we went to Opus Pelia, near the, Acropolis Museum, and he ordered pork steak, and it was fantastic. Like, it's just slightly charred and super juicy. It was great. And he couldn't believe how inexpensive it was. Like, I think we paid like €9, and it was this huge plate of pork steak. And he was like, "Can we go there again?" So, um, pork stock. I don't think I've ever had pork stock. So, are you making that from like the bone, like simmering the bone? We've just talked about food this in this live stream, which is totally fine. Village Park in Rentis. No, I haven't. Is it like a holiday village, or is it just a really cool place? Now I'm curious. Yeah, see, that's the thing is about on the islands, I feel like it's still warm until like December usually, so or even through December. I have heard of this the restaurant that's in the train wagon. I think it's over in the west side somewhere, and that remind I'd heard of it, but I'd forgotten about it, and now I need to go and check that out because it does look really cool. So, huh, thanks for the reminder. I'm going to write it down because I'm gonna forget. Because, I these are the things that I need to do, is I need to go do these cool things. Restaurant in a train, and I don't remember the name of it though. Um, so pork chop bones, okay. And are you going to cook them, like, with vegetable like, are you gonna, like, cook it with vegetables? I don't know why I'm asking, it's not like I'm gonna make pork stock. I'm just curious. Um, yes, thank you, Dino, that I have written it down, and I will go there. I may not go there before Christmas, but I will go there when I come back, so, but yeah, it does look really cool. I'm going to a new place on Sunday with a friend, hopefully. We've made arrangements. Hopefully, it'll be good. It's called Fellows. It's next to the War Museum. It looks like really pretty. It has a garden and everything. Now, I don't know how the food is, but it looks pretty. So let's hope that it's nice. So I'm always up for trying new places food wise because, like, you never know, like, somebody on Instagram, who I think is one of my Australian followers. So she was saying, because I was talking to her about where I'd gone this week to eat, and she's like, "Oh, just down the street from this is this place called the White Horse, but in Greek. So I think it's called Lefkolikos, and it's like a hole in the wall Greek place, but she says it's amazing, and she said the Retsina is even good." And I don't hear that a lot, so I need to try that. It's that Roof. Okay, yeah, I was like, it's over near Tavros, somewhere over there, but yeah, Roof sounds more correct. Traditional stuff. Okay, yeah, so like carrots, celery. Oh, okay, cool. No, yeah, I mean, and it makes your cholesterol go nuts too. So, but remember, I used to live in Qatar, so I didn't have pork a lot for a really long period of time, and I felt like every time I went back to the US, my cholesterol must have risen because I ate a lot of bacon. So, logo. Thank you. That was close. Lycos is wolf. Okay, well, there you go. But at least I remember. At least once you said that, I realized yes, that's wolf, not horse. Um, so is it called Levko Alago or is it called Aspro Alago? Because it would make more sense to be called Aspro. So there are two words for white in Greek, in case you guys are wondering if you don't know. I have not. We were talking about this earlier. I really wanna go to Arakova in the winter. I've only been to Thessaloniki in the winter, so, um, there is a chance that I could go to Arakova in, like, February. Now, I am going now, technically, I think that's will that technically be spring then? When does spring start, technically? Anyway, I've made a hotel reservation. I haven't done anything else, but I've made a hotel reservation to go to the Varia region in March for the Peach Blossom Festival. Um, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm gonna drive or if I'm going to, um, fly to Thessaloniki and then rent a car. See. I have not quite figured out I keep thinking about I'd like to drive, but I don't drive that much anymore, and I'm not sure if I can drive 5 hours by myself anymore. I used to do it all the time, but now I'm like, "Mm." Plus, it's because of all the mountains here, I get nervous about driving over the mountains, and I don't know how mountainous it is. Like, I know there are mountains obviously on the way. I mean, you go past Mount Olympus, but I don't know if I have to go over the mountains, so I'm like, not so sure about that. And, like, if I fly to Thessaloniki, it's only, like, an hour and a half drive, so that seems more doable, and the Thessaloniki airport is really nice and new, and it's easy to navigate, so we'll see. Village multiplex, okay. I don't I'm gonna have to look into that because 'cause I've not heard of that, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. Maybe she did say the white wolf, and I read it as the white I don't know, now I'm curious, I think let me see. I love all these people who give me these great tips when they don't live here all the time. Yes, the white horse, Aspro Alago, which makes sense because if it was white wolf, it would be Lefko Lycos. Okay, but yeah, and like I walked by there the other day and I was like, wow, that's a hole in the wall, but she says it's really good and I'm gonna trust her on that one. So, what am I asking for Santa? Well, I'm asking for um a new tripod for this thing to sit on. Because the one they came with, this cute little guy, isn't like this is useful for some things, but I really want to change shooting to sitting in front of all of this over here. And my tripod is specifically for my camera. Like it's a Sony, I have the Sony Alpha and it's specifically made for those. So the even though the spread side is the same, it just doesn't sit on there very well and it feels very unstable. So I want just like one of those little and then now I'm thinking now we're getting technical. The thing that like came out this week, the new DJI mini mic. Now I kind of want that. So we'll see. But that's it. Yeah, I think if I do stock, I would do like chicken. I'd probably just make it like from the stock cubes or something. I'm not a big cooker. So yeah, I'm excited about Varia. I think it's an area that I haven't been to, and I'm hoping to go to. Part of the reason I was hoping to drive there is that I could stop and see things on the way, but we'll see. March. Okay, so technically, I will be in Varia during winter because I'll go like in the middle of March. I don't remember the exact dates. I only wrote down that I had to cancel by the end of February. I have a note in front of me. Um, so we'll see. I have been to Kalamata. I went to Kalamata in May of 23. I went actually um, for like a travel bloggers conference. Um, so I really liked the area around it. Like I liked going to all the little villages. I think I would have liked it better if I'd stayed in the center, but the conference was like way out on the beach and it kind of like went like way it just felt like I didn't get to experience Kalamata that much. I was just staying way out there. I think they were like, "Oh, people are gonna wanna stay on the beach," and I'm like, "I wanna stay in the historic center." But and it was like you had to get the bus to go in and you couldn't even walk, so, Aspro Alago is a Greek restaurant in near Sintagma. It's on what's the name of that street? Hold on. Um, Apollonius Street. So it's like central Athens. I'm looking at the reviews and everybody's saying, "I got halva for free," and I'm like, "Well, that's kinda normal." Anyway, but yeah, it's a restaurant. I think it's, like, super, like, very traditional Greek food. Oh my goodness, I'm looking at the pictures online. The oven roasted lamb looks amazing. I'm wondering if they make their own halva because that seems like a thing. Okay, I have to really stop looking at that. I should try I'm not gonna try to say that. Oh, that could be good. I've never had Chinese roast pork, but in Italy, they do a lot of the small villages once a week, there's the pork truck that comes, and they roast, like, a whole pig, and you get, like, a porchetta sandwich, and that's really good. It's a good thing it only comes once a week. So, I've spent a lot of time in Italy, so I'm very familiar with the porchetta truck. It's, like, salted, though, it's not, like, roast it's roasted, but it's, like, a salted pig, but that's good. It's totally not good for you, though. Ooh, okay. Have you gotten the DJ Mike Mini already? Did you get one in advance, Mr. Fancy Pants? I think there's a sizable American community up in Kifisia and down in Glafada. I think the Brits are a lot more spread out. The British people that I know some British people here, but a lot of the British people that live in Greece like to live either on the islands or in the Peloponnese. Um, I think a lot of British people come, they wanna live in the countryside, they don't necessarily wanna live in Athens. So, um, I could be wrong about that, but it seems like a lot of the British people that I've talked to here don't live in Athens. Some do, but not as many as you would think. I don't hear a lot of British English walking around. So, although I do find well, they're not British, though. I do find a lot of women are married older women are married to Greek men, but those are mostly European women, like, from, like, Germany and other European countries. Not so much I mean, some British people, but, um, I don't know, I don't think a lot of people really if you're coming to live here and you're retired and you're not having to work, most people don't choose Athens, like, because it is quite a big city for a lot of people. So, I do have a drone. Um, it's older, but, and I've always, like I get super afraid to fly it, and I've stopped trying to fly it here in Athens. Every time I try to fly it in Athens, it flies away from me. Um, there's something magnetic in Philippapu Hill that it doesn't like. Um, at one time, it flew, like, quite a ways away from me, and I was like, "Well, I'm not getting that back." This last time when it happened, I stopped touching it, and then I tried to get it to come back to me, and it did. It responded immediately. So and that was in the daytime. The first time it happened to me, it was at night, which you're not supposed to fly them at night anyway. So, yeah, I don't fly it. And really, it's hard in Athens because like, there are so many archaeological zones, and you're not allowed to fly over those, so, like and there's always people, and I don't like to fly over people because like, if something happens and it falls out of the sky, I would feel horrible if it hit someone because it can do quite a bit of damage. Like, even when I fly it, because I don't have the protectors on the propellers, I put my sunglasses on. So that way, at least it gets above me and I can take them off. So that way I don't hurt myself. Oh, Tellus Birzo. Where is that? Birzolatico. Hmm. Oh, you had to order it. It's not that expensive. So yeah, it's So I'm excited. So my friend TLDR filmmaker and I are talking about so this company that made my drone and makes this, they've come out with a miniature mic. So this is my mic. Sometimes you guys probably see me wearing this in videos. So it's even smaller than this. And this is pretty small. But like when I'm wearing like tank tops in the summer, it's like pulling my shirt. So I'm excited for the tiny one. So yeah, but they're not expensive. It's like, I don't know. So yeah, I think like Nick is saying, I think a lot of and I do feel like a lot of Brits go to the Ionian as well. Like I feel like there are a lot of Brits in Corfu. Um, did they all want to marry a Greek? I thought they just wanted to have a holiday romance in Shirley Valentine. I need to watch that again. I've only seen it once because I didn't know about it until I moved here and I've seen it and I just thought it was hilarious. So, but it's beautiful. Like the movie itself, like I love the scenery and I mean, I live here, so obviously, but I like it's like you don't see too many places that sort of that way anymore here, and so, um, I really loved it. I think that's why I liked, Danusa so much this summer is it just felt very, like, traditional, like, Greek island that is pretty sleepy. So well, thank you. I've done a lot of don't go watch the early videos because those are awful. Um, I'm fuzzy, my audio is terrible. And I used to think my because I used to shoot on my GoPro, and the that I have now is great, but the original GoPro I had was horrible because I had a really old GoPro, and I was watching footage of Iggy Street because I've been to Iggy Street twice. I was looking at the footage, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is it's like all over the place, like shaking, and not because I'm shaking, but the camera is just like it's not steady at all. It didn't have the steady like now they have all this like motion sensing. And this is now, so this guy, this fabulous thing, um, has a built-in gimbal. And you guys don't see this because I'm filming on it, but you can see it move, like the little head moves around, and you can like move it and goes this way and this way. Anyway, so this has helped a lot. But thank you. I'm glad to hear that. So I will say that this has helped a lot too because my audio was always so bad. Even once I got a better mic for the GoPro, this thing is I can wear this underneath like coats. Like when I went to New York, I had on a coat and a scarf, and you could still hear me. I mean, it was sometimes a little bit muffled, but I was clear. And it has a little, where is it? I don't know where it is, but it has a little muff so that if it's super windy and it all clips into each other. So I really, oh, Jason, the other thing I want to get is the black mist filter for this guy because I think sometimes in the summer here, it's super, not so much video, but if I try to take a picture with this, I get a little overblown. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised, but I'm having a good time. I'm learning everybody's secret restaurants recommendations in Athens too, and restaurant and recipes. Othanasis. Oh, the Othanasis in Monostraki. I don't know where the other place is. Atlantikos. Gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna have to start walking everywhere. I'm gonna start walking to Cafecia with all these restaurant recommendations, you guys. So this is the one thing that I said in my video that hasn't come out yet. That'll come out next week. Like you could eat every meal out in Athens for a year and probably not have to like repeat a restaurant like ever, and like every time I meet someone new or go out with my friends, like we're always not every time, but a lot of times we're like, oh, let's go try. Or they'll be like, oh, I found this place, let's go there. And so like I'm constantly amazed. I have now found two good Mexican restaurants. One's in Cafecia though, so that is kind of a hike. But one is behind the Hilton. It's called Differente, and they make some amazing margaritas. So what is my island list for 25 summertime? I haven't actually like made any plans. So none of this is set in stone. First, I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna go for Easter. I know that's not summer, but I'm hoping to go to Amorgos, but, um, not sure yet. If I go to Amorgos, I might then go to Danusa again, but I kinda wanna go there in, like, the height of summer, because I wanna see how different it is. I really want to go to Kimolos. The problem is there are not very many hotels there. They tend to book up really fast, and as you guys know, I don't plan ahead, so that can be a little bit difficult. Um, I don't have anything specific in mind. I'd love to go to Anafi. Uh, the issue with Anafi is it's not easy to get to, like, in the sense that the ferries land in, like, the middle of the night, and you either have to go on this really long ferry or you have to go to Santorini and then still get on the ferry, so I'm not sure, like, but I don't have any at this point, there's nothing that I'm like, "I need to go to this place." Like, last year, it was just kind of a whim where I went, like, when I went to Naxos, Heraklion, and Skanusa, that was, like, on a whim, like, literally, I decided, like, 4 or 5 days before that I was gonna do it. So, um, but if you have suggestions, I'm open. Like I said, my friend is coming to go sailing, and I'm hoping to do some of the Peloponnese, like the coastal towns in the Peloponnese. Oh, I know. I'd really like to go to Elefonisos, not the one in Crete, but the island off the Peloponnese. I can never remember which one it is. Um, but we're hoping to do that on the sailing, like because we can sail there. I think because that crossing from the Peloponnese to there isn't far. So um, we'll see. I'm trying to think. There's nothing, like, right now that's, like, like, calling me. Um, no, I'd love to visit all the islands. I don't know if that's ever gonna happen, though. I really wanna go to Lesbos as well. I'd like to make it to Crete at some point. So, but I feel like Crete, I need, like, weeks there. I need, like, a month in Crete, so we'll see. I don't know if I wanna go to I've tried to go to Corfu in the past for Easter, um, but because it is such a tourist destination for Easter, the prices get so crazy. Um, but yeah, Amorgos looks really cool for Easter, and I think I'd like to go there when it's cooler because I would like to hike to the monastery, and I know that if I try to hike to the monastery in the heat, I won't make it. So, okay, this is the second person recommending Atlanticos for seafood. So, where is it though? Yeah, we'll see. George, what are your favorite islands? And Nick, what are you? I mean, you live in Zakynthos, so that's another place I'd like to go. But um, I just don't. The idea of all the tourists in Zakynthos in the summer is kind of discouraging. um, so yeah, and Chios is another place that I'd like to go because I want to see the houses. Um, so I don't know all of them. So I did make a list the other day, and I don't think I've missed any islands, but I could be wrong because I'm not really good about keeping track. Like, and I've been coming here since 2016. I wrote down all of the islands I have been to, and Danusa was number 30. So I've been to 30 islands, I think. Now, a few of them were just for like a day because I was on a sailboat. Um, but I've at least gotten off and walked around. I didn't count Antipaxos because I didn't get off the boat. We just sailed around it. Um, and the thing is many of these I've been to multiple times. So like Naxos, obviously, Paros, Egina, Egistri, Hydra. I've now been to Kea twice. I've been to Skanusa technically twice, which is kind of wild. Um, let's see, where else have I been? I've been to Corfu twice. I've been to Paxos twice. But then I've also been to places that people haven't even heard of. I went to an island called Marathi near Patmos that most people haven't heard of because it's mostly uninhabited. So, and then some of them I'm like, I would never go back. So, I mean, ideally I'd move to my own uninhabited island and call it a day. What's that lady who lives? There's an island. Oh, I don't even remember the name. Her name is Mrs. I just read an article about her the other day because they brought her a donkey for company. Huh. Anyway, I'm like, can I join her? I don't know if I'd make it there because I don't know. I think she has electricity, but I don't know if she has internet. That might be an issue. Kefalonia, yeah, Kefalonia is the beaches there look spectacular. So yeah, I think with Zakynthos, it's like an off-season thing because there are too many tourists there, and the British tourists there in the summer. It's young British, like partying people. Not that I have a thing, obviously, against British people. I love you guys, but I don't want to go with the crazy 20-year-olds. So, yeah, I'm not a party girl, not anymore. I was in my 20s. Yeah, I had a good time. So, okay, thank you for the address. I'm adding this to my list of places. So, and who doesn't? I love seafood too. So, Don. Okay. Central Park. Yeah, 10554 seems century. Icaria. I don't really. I've seen pictures of Icaria, and I'm not impressed. I don't know. But yeah, everybody talks about it, so it's one of those places I feel like I need to go. So, which islands would I not go back to? Kalymnos, Lipsy. I mean, there's nothing I would like say no, never, never, never. But ones I'm like, take it or like, they're okay. There's nothing wrong with them. But like, I've done them now and I don't need to see them again as Tinos Milos. Don't come at me. Tinos is great. Love spending Easter there. But the big attraction there is the mountain villages. And driving in Tinos scared the ever living daylights out of me. People are really nice though. Also, I didn't think the beaches were that. There was one beach that was really amazing, but the rest were kind of so-so. Milos is very pretty, and there was cool stuff, but it's not as charming. I think because Adamus is not that great of a port town. So, yeah, not too many though. I mean, there's not like Kalymnos is just a giant rock to me. If you're a rock climber, it's probably great, but I did not, I was there and it was insanely hot, so that probably had a lot to do with it. So, yeah, no, I mean, most of the places I've been to, I've enjoyed them. There's nothing. Lipsy was just so tiny, and there just wasn't any like. It was kind of just like, okay, it's an island. There wasn't anything like that exciting about it. Laros was kind of the same way, but I know a lot of people love Laros. So, yeah. Kos was okay, except that it gets so hard to get around on the island, and like I flew to the airport and then I took a taxi and it was so expensive. It was like taking the taxi from center of Athens to the airport. I think it was like 50 euros. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's an island. It shouldn't be that expensive. It was like a 15-20 minute taxi ride. It wasn't like an hour-long ride like it is here. So I don't quite understand that. So, I'd like to go to Cyprus. At this moment in time, like, I've been so focused on Greece that like going to another country hasn't been high on my list. And then there's things I'd like to do. Like, I'm really tried to go this year, but next year I really wanna go. I want to go to Copenhagen. So, and then I have friends that live near, Florence, and they have their own, like, villa that they rent out, and I really wanna go stay in their little village because I love little Italian villages. So, and even though I've been to Italy, like, 10 times, uh, there's always more to see. It's kind of like Greece. There's so much to see. So, yeah, it seems like there's, like, I don't know if I'd say alternatives. It's just, like, a lot of hippies, like, modern hippies there. I don't know, not in a bad way. It's just I don't know if it's my scene. So, but I mean, I would like to hit all of them. So, you know, never say never. So, um, I don't know if that was terrible. I mean, I don't that's I mean, I might have left 3, but I don't know. I don't know. When was this? Um, I've gotten very Europeanized and, like, unless the service is spectacular, I don't often tip, um, here anymore. I do not that they have to do something amazing, but they just have to be a little bit more nice. Like, a lot of Greeks are just kind of, Greek waiters are kind of can be very indifferent to you. And I don't tip for things like coffee and stuff like that. Like if I'm just getting a coffee, um, but I don't think that most Greek people are big tip like they're gonna a lot of Greek people tip, but they're not tipping very much. So like, and I think most Greek people will tell you they'd be happy for the tip no matter what it was. So I was in Naxos over the summer and I think my bill was like 20 euros or something, and I gave her 3 euros, and she seemed, like, totally shocked that I gave her 3 euros, but she was amazing and was like and it was, like, the middle of the high season, and she was super nice, like, answered all these questions for me because it was a new restaurant and, like, was super nice and, was telling me, like I was like, "Oh, do you live in Athens?" And she was like, "Yes," and she's like, "I work at this place that, the owner in the winter," and, like, didn't have to do that, and so I don't know. I think a lot of people don't tip at all. Like other Europeans, I think they probably don't. So I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think anybody's it's not like in America where if you don't tip, they'll come running after you. So I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, modern hippies. Danusa was kind of like that though. Like the people that were staying on the beach that you had to go to by the boat, they were like that. And it wasn't even like, "Oh, they're just hippies because 'cause they're nudists," like, they were literally, like, uh, you know, they'd clearly been on that beach most of the summer is what it felt like to me, like, these people were just living on this beach in their tents for most of the summer. So, um okay, yeah, so recently, I maybe a little bit more, but I would only say a little bit more if they were, like, amazing. Um, you know I mean, my friend and I went out the other night and she didn't have any cash for a tip and I only had like enough to so I and our bill was expensive and we only left 350. And like when my friend apologized to him, he was like, "Don't worry about it." Like he wasn't offended at all by the fact that she didn't have money for a tip. So I it's not as big of a deal here. Maybe they were more shocked that you left a tip at all. So, I do sometimes look around and see what other Greek people, like I'm one of them, what Greek people are doing in the restaurant to kind of gauge what the tipping should be. So, um, and then there are places that like I go all the time to, and they kind of know me, so I tend to tip them a little bit more. Not more, but like for smaller things, like just getting a coffee, I'll tip like they have like a community tip jar, so I'll leave like 50 cents. So I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did love you. Yes, because now, and if you haven't been here in the last like trying to think of when this started. So they introduced this new system here that your credit card machine and the register have to be linked. So if you're going to pay by card, they have to link it. You can't just put the amount in on the credit card machine yourself. Like it has to go to the credit card machine automatically, and that's for tax purposes. And when they did that, a lot of the people got new credit card machines. You can now add a tip. So you're going to see that more. And yes, they're going to start taxing those tips from the credit card payments. So just like in America. So tip in cash if you can. I try to tip in cash no matter where I am. So I will tell you, talking about tipping, I had lunch at Avli, which you'll see in next week's video. And they have that thing where you go and you pay with your credit card and it said, "Do you want a tip?" And of course, they knew I was American. I wonder if they asked Greek people this. And I gave them 10%. And they're like, "Oh, thank you, ma'am." So, and the options were 5%, 10%, or 15%. So, if that gives you an idea of what the expectation for tipping is as well, like I think that's very telling. Like, whereas in America, your options are like 15, 18, and 20%, where you put in your own amount. So, um, yeah, I've lived abroad for so long that I'm going to go to the US and I'm like, oh crap, I got to because dinner automatically becomes like super expensive. Like, and food in it, like going out to eat in the US is so expensive anyway. And then you add a 20% tip on top of that, and you're like dying. I mean, it's crazy to me. So, and I feel like the prices of food have gone up in Greece in the last year. Now that like inflation around the world has gone up, I feel like that Greece is finally catching on to that. So like everywhere I go, like all the menus have like prices crossed out or stickers over them and new prices, because I think that that price they realized that that inflation wasn't temporary, that it's more of a permanent thing, and so they finally have started to pass that price off to the customer. So it's not everywhere, but I've noticed things are more expensive, like food is more expensive, and that the menus like are changing. So, and it seems like a couple of places every time I go, they have new menus. And I'm like, do you have new menus because of new prices? How much are we paying for menus at this point? So, yeah, sometimes I'm like, "Can't you just print a new menu? Like, can't you just" like, there was this place, this really gourmet place that I went to in Thessaloniki, and because it was, like, a seasonal place, they just printed it on a piece of paper, and that worked really well. Exactly, Nick, like, the salaries really aren't going up. I mean, they've increased minimum wage, but it's been, like I think it was, like, 20 something euros a year. It was something insignificant. I was like, "Is this really an increase?" And even at the rate that they're talking about increasing the minimum wage, it's not really much of it's not gonna keep up with the inflation. Although I would say that nobody's salaries around the world keep up with at least not in the US, keep up with inflation. I don't know how the Brits feel about that. So, um, I don't know. So, alright. Does anybody have any questions or wanna ask me any or tell me anything else? Because I think now that we've hit 2 hours and 18 minutes, I'm probably gonna stop because I'm getting really thirsty now. So, yeah. Well, Vegas itself, I imagine, is ridiculously expensive. So, I've never been to Vegas. Probably will never go at this point. So, what do you mean in terms of paperwork? Like paying bills or I don't have a lot of paperwork here. I mean, I do my residence permit, and that's about it. And that's I get that all officially translated because it has to be. I did write a letter in Greek the other day to the immigration because my passport number changed, but that's what Google Translate is for. I mean, I got my water bill and it's in Greek, but obviously it's in English. I mean, number is a number, so that's not an issue. My electric bill comes in English. That was part of the reason I picked an electric company because when I called them and I said, "I need electricity, but I don't speak." Well, they had like an online chat thing, and I said, "I want to open an account, but I need someone to call me who speaks English," and they did, and they called me like the next day. Oh, I'm here on a financially independent residence permit. So, yeah, it's a lot of paperwork, but um, it's technically like uh, mostly for retired people. Um, and they're getting more strict about that now that it's become very popular. So, but yeah, that's why I'm here. Sorry, I didn't understand. Um, I'm not here on a gold visa or anything. So, although I was talking to a Canadian woman the other day, and she said that she knows somebody who came and wanted to live here and is taking Greek lessons at a university so that she could be here on a visa. So she's here on a student visa. So, hey, whatever works. You know, if they tell me I can't stay, I'll apply for the digital nomad visa and come back. So I don't really want to do it that way, but yeah. Um, no, I mean, there have been a few people that I've talked to, like trying to like date in particular is difficult because I'm a little bit older. A lot of the men my age don't speak English well enough. They speak English, but to have like more than an in-depth conversation, like my Greek, like I can't really have an in-depth conversation. Like, and some of them will try to like, and some people are like, oh, it's fine, we can use Google Translate. And I'm like, I don't think that's gonna work long term. So um, and I totally get that. Like I'm not comfortable enough in Greek, so it's I totally understand where they're coming from. So I do think that it's limited my even making friends because I don't have a lot of Greek female friends as a result. Um, and part of it too is like Greek people have friends from when they were kids. Like they've grown up with the same people and they're still friends with them. So it's kind of hard to break into that group of people. So yeah. Um, yeah. So is it yeah. Is that gross? 11? I thought it was like rounded up to 12, but I could be wrong. I don't know the exact figures. You would know better than me. So, basically for me, so what you're supposed to have for the FIP residence, well, it's a visa and then you get the permit, is that you show proof that you have income, like a pension. In my case, it's my savings, but my understanding is they're not really allowing savings anymore. It has to be like you have rent, like you're renting out your house, or you have a pension or social security or something like that. Um, and they'll give some leeway on it, like if like the amount if you own property here. So, oh, I don't know. I'm not really. I've been gambling in Shreveport. I wasn't impressed. And I'm going to Biloxi in January. And the person that invited me, I was like, "Look, I wanna come because I wanna see you, but I don't really gamble." So, um, yeah, I went a little bit longer tonight, Thomas, because of Thanksgiving, but I'm actually probably gonna get off soon because 'cause I've been at this for 2.5 hours now. So, and I can feel now that the back of my throat is starting to get really dry. I'm sure I could. I have Greek men love older women, but I can't date guys in their 30s because I'm not out as late as they are. When I first moved here, a guy who was, like, in his early well, I don't remember how old he was, like, 30 something, and he's like, "Oh, let's meet." And I was like, "Okay, sure, what time?" He's like, 11 o'clock, and I was like, "Nope." He's like, 10:30. I was like, "Nope." So, yeah, I'm not going out at 11 o'clock. I mean, if I'm out, it's one thing, but I'm not gonna meet someone at 11 o'clock at night. It's just and then what time's that date end? Like 2, 3? No, I'll be asleep. And if I have any kind of alcohol at that hour, I'll definitely be asleep on the table, and they'll never wanna see me again. I need someone who's about 40 and up, preferably and up. Yeah. So to some degree, like when I especially when I speak to other like Greek people, like today I went into a meeting and I was like, yes, us. And the lady was like, you're speaking in because we always talk in English. She's like, You're speaking to me in Greek today. And I was like, oh, yeah. Like I didn't even think about it. So and like responding to questions, if I know the answer, it's natural. Like I don't have to think too hard about it unless I don't understand what they're saying. And then I'm like yesterday, somebody asked me on the bus if the next stop, what the next, if the next stop was his stop, and I was like, first I was like, I don't even know where I am, and then, but the lady next to me was like, yes, it's the next stop. So it's kind of yeah, it's getting more natural. I don't have to think about it as much. If I can just form sentences, I will feel much better. So, not for me. I need to be able to have a good conversation with someone that I'm dating. So, yeah. So I'm not on a visa anymore. I am on a residence permit, and I have now been here for 5 years. So wait for the Aussies to join. I don't know what time is it. 10:30. I don't know if they're going to be on. It's 9:30 in the morning. I don't know if YouTube is the first thing that they're thinking about, but we'll see. So Thomas, yeah, I agree with you. Dating is not great anywhere. So, and I haven't actually gone on a date in like what month is it? Since like June. So, yeah. And I have no interest anymore. Tom, yeah. Mhm. Uh, I actually I had dinner one night this 2 nights this last week at 10 o'clock, and I was like, "Oh, I am," and on my own, in my own house. Because what happens is I stay up late and then I sleep late, and so then I have breakfast at like 11, and then I have lunch at like 3 or 4, and I always think, "Oh, I'm not gonna have dinner now because I'm not gonna be hungry," and then at like 9:30, I'm starving. It's probably where this double chin is coming from. Oh, I would never wanna go on a group date, even if it was small. That's just me though. Kind of I don't think it's a good way to get to know someone. Like, I mean, unless maybe if you were all friends, but I don't know. That's no, I just think that like I want to get to know you. And like I also think that some people behave differently when there are other people around and maybe they're not themselves. So I think probably one on one. But I would say that you probably shouldn't go on a meal on the first date for that reason. That's just me. I'm like, go for a drink, go for a coffee, go for a walk, even. There doesn't even need to be food involved. So, do I silently sometimes, like, I mean, if it's something totally normal, it's fine. But, like, I don't know. I'd have to probably be in the moment. Like, if I went out with someone and they're like, yes, I would like the liver and giblets of a turkey or a chicken, then yeah, I think it would be kind of weird. So, so the criteria, you have to be here well, you have to be here on a residence permit. You cannot be here just on a visa, and you have to have lived here for 7 years. You have to I think there's some stuff you have to prove, like, that you've actually been here, and then there's obviously the test. The test is the big thing, I think, and then you have to pay a fee. You have to pay a fee to take the test, and then you have to pay a fee to apply. So, it's expensive. So well, I think if we were judging a date on how much ouzo they could drink, I would fail. I don't bleh. So, we have the same dating apps here. We have Tinder, Hinge, Bumble. I'm sure there are others I'm not thinking of. I'm not on them anymore. There's other kinds too that are here. Like, we have all sorts of things here. So, um, I'm a white meat person. So, you say Tinder, and I say Tinder. Now, it's been a few years since this conversation happened, but I was in a taxi ride one time and I told him, he's like, "Oh, where are you going?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to meet, like, date." And I forget how this came about, but he was like, "Oh, how did you meet this person?" And I said, "On Tinder." And this guy was young. He was like either like late 20s, early 30s. And he's like, "What is Tinder?" And I was like, "You don't know what Tinder is?" Now, I think that a lot of Greek people meeting Greek people, they don't use the apps. Like, they meet people through friends and relatives, all that. So, but yeah, Tinder is a thing, and I think, like, Hinge and, Bumble are getting more popular. I don't know, I haven't been on a dating app since that date. So, um, I don't know, but dating is terrible, particularly for a woman of my age. I'm sure it is terrible for men too. I don't think it's any better for either sex. So, I hate dating apps too, but because I don't look Greek men very rarely talk to me in person. So, um, I think I have a very not nice face when I'm out in public. So, oh, that's interesting to know. Well, I think the American citizenship test is similar. Like, I think if I tried to take it, I might not pass. So but, like, I know, like, my teachers, like, I know because almost everybody that I've, like, given it to, they've passed. So and I think a lot of it, because it's subjective, I don't like, yes, you have to pass the test, but some of it is like, "Oh, we can see that you're really trying and that you really want to be here, so we'll give it to you." I don't think that it's as objective as it should be, probably. I don't know, like, my teacher has said, like, "Oh, I can see, like, they may not have answered all the questions about the history right, but they've made a big effort with the language, or their language isn't great, but they know all the answers to the questions, and they've built all these relationships with people, so we've passed them." So, I don't think it's a be all end all thing. So, we'll see. I don't I could be totally wrong. Thank you, because I feel like I'm have big bags under my eyes and really I haven't been sleeping well lately. Like, I've been going to sleep a lot, but I don't feel rested. So, anyway, maybe this long YouTube live will put me asleep. So, all right. I think I'm now definitely gonna call it quits because I think I need a cup of tea. Thank you all so much for coming and celebrating Thanksgiving with me. Maybe this will become more of a regular thing in which I celebrate holidays with you all. And yeah, it could be fun. There may not be, um, there probably won't be a live in December or January because I don't really have a place to do that in my parents' house. And there's too many people. So, and there's cats and dogs. So we'll be back in either late January or February with lives, unless I go live like from my phone, like walking out and about. Um, so, um, but yeah, we will get back to them in the spring. But you guys will see me. I'm not making videos for the rest of the year, but the lives will probably to be continued in the new year. So thank you again for joining me. Quickly answer Julie's question, Naxos. Why I think it's more charming and there's more to do in Naxos. And the beaches I think are better than in Paros. That's just me. So thank you again. Happy Thanksgiving, whether you celebrate or not. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks again for joining me. Have a wonderful day, evening, wherever you are. And I'm going to wish you Kali Nikta now.